Hello friends, welcome back. Want to deploy your .NET Core 9 Web API to Azure completely free? In this video, we will create an Azure App Service, which is an F1 free tier plan, set up a CI/CD pipeline in Azure DevOps, and securely deploy the code using the service principle. Plus, we will configure the connection string in the Azure environment to make sure the deployed version is perfectly working with the database. So let's get your API live in just a few steps. Stay tuned. This video is part of the full stack development video series. We were building the Smart Certify online platform application. We're building using the Angular 19 and .NET Core 9 Web API. So I'm on the playlist for the full stack development video series. Here is the playlist, which I will give you in the description. And we already finished the last 15 episode. The last episode was Azure AD B2C configuration for authentication. So in this video, what we are going to do is we are going to use the Azure DevOps to deploy our code to the Azure portal. So let's go step by step. First thing is, let's go to Azure portal, which is portal.azure.com. I'm logging in with my learnsmartcoding@gmail.com. That's my official email ID for logging into the portal, which I'm doing it, and I'm on the portal. Based on the previous video, I'm landing on a different thing. So I'm going to go back to my directory. This is where all of the subscription, all of the resources are present. You don't need to do so, but just for you, you can switch to your directory. If you have watched the previous video, you know what I'm talking about. So I'm on the portal login. Okay, so this is where we need to create the Azure App Service web app. So go to the search box and type web app. If you type web app, what you will get is you will get a link called web app. So I'm going to click on that web app, and it is going to take me to the place where I will create a web app. Okay, so these are the basic things that we need to fill up. And what I'm going to do is, let's start with the basic. Azure subscription. Like if you have logged in, you should have at least one subscription active. I have more than one subscription. Like I said, creating subscription is easy, and it's easy to build across a particular subscription. So the reason I'm showing here is, in this one, I'm dealing with Smart Certify app. In our channel, there are many videos, different videos for different concept, but we are dealing with Smart Certify app. So I have a dedicated subscription for that. So I know how much it is costing for this complete video series, right? Which I'll show you in the end of the video series, but here is the what. So here is what we are going to do. So I choose my subscription. In your case, you choose your subscription. If you have free subscription, well and good. If not, whatever we are going to do is free. So don't be afraid to start and do this. I choose my subscription resource group. Either you can create your own resource group, but I wanted to keep under an existing resource group where every single resource that is used for this web series, like this video series, is kept under this. Okay, so I'm going to choose that. We have to name a particular unique name here for our API. So I named something like LSC Smart Certify Web API. I'm going to remove this. We don't want that unique name. But here is what. If it is unique, it will give you a tick mark here. And next is publish. Are we going to publish the code? In this case, yes. So I'm going to choose code and then say which one. Here's the important thing. I know a lot of users are struggling sometimes. Maybe they're not paying attention. So our application source code belongs to .NET 9. So if it is .NET 9, I cannot choose something else. I have to choose .NET 9. So I choose the right framework, and I have an option to choose Linux or Windows, because .NET Core can run both on Linux and Windows. That's why these options are coming. But let's choose Windows. All right. So this is where you will land after you choose the web app. We need to fill up all of this information, right? Let's start with the project detail, with the basic one. So here, first one, you need to choose the subscription. For this demo, I'm going to choose this subscription, but we were doing the Smart Certify application. So basically my original thing are in this subscription. Okay. For this demo, it doesn't matter as long as you choose a subscription and you choose a resource group. In this case, I'm going to choose a different resource group. I'm giving it like this. Okay, so it's a meaningful resource group. So I know all of these resources that is coming under this resource group are related to that application. So I choose this. We have to give a name. So I'm going to choose this name and remove this. As long as this name is unique after this .azurewebsite.net, then it becomes a tick mark. And then in our case, we're going to deploy the code or container. Container is a different concept. There's a video in the channel for the Docker, but we are going to deal with the code. So I choose code and runtime stack. Our application is built based on .NET Core 9, so you need to choose the right version. I'm going to choose the .NET 9, and because .NET Core is capable of running in both Windows and Linux, two options I enable, but I'll go with Windows. I'll choose the closest region where this is getting deployed. From my side, this is East US. If you belong to a different country, please do so to your closest region. Generally, this region is based on where the business is running. If somebody is running a business in America and customers are like based out of America, it's better to choose the region as East US, right? So for example, right, Dunkin' Donut, it's mainly in America, right? They're not around the world. But so they will choose something like this, like within the US, within East US, Central US, anything within US where only US people will try to access the website. That's the concept, okay? And the pricing tier. And this is where the important thing is. So for example, the pricing plan, right now it's showing as a production plan. Standard S1 means it's a production plan. Is basically it's showing what is the capacity. So we can click on this explore pricing plan, and it is going to list down everything here. Okay, the S1 plan that we choose, like, or whatever the one that is already chosen, right? You see this, it will cost $73 per month. I don't want that, right? I want F1 plan, which is just free, because we are dealing with the demo, we are not dealing with the real production application. So that's the only reason I chose this. Okay, as long as you're doing this, it is free, it is going to be free. Okay, and you can also explore this, what and all versions are available, how much it is going to cost you, right? Everything is here. But if you choose F1, it is going to be free, but also remember, only 60 minutes a day, and after it attains all of these resources, it will shut down automatically. Okay, they don't give you free forever. They give you free for daily basis on certain limit. So for us, this is enough. I'm going to choose select. This is done. And zone redundancy is disabled, because for F1 it doesn't even apply. Okay, that's why. And the next is database. We are not going to create any database, so leave this. Next is deployment. We are not going to do any deployment from here. Basically, let me quickly explain you what is this. Continuous deployment, if you enable, basically it will ask you from where to take the code. This will get enabled. The moment it does this, it can actually set up a CI/CD pipeline automatically in the GitHub repository, but we will not do this. Generally, this won't happen like this in a real-time scenario. Okay, nobody's going to do this. Like, everything gets automated, right? We cannot do that. We have to control it from CI/CD pipeline from DevOps. Either it is a GitHub action or Azure DevOps. It needs to be in a controlled manner. This will not have any control. This is for good for development purpose, but not for the real beyond development purpose. So I'm going to leave this as disabled, just for your understanding. And basic authentication is by default disabled, and it is not encouraged to enable it. Basically, basic authentication means where your username and passwords are visible over the network. You give username, password and try. Username, passwords are visible in the network. Anyone who wants to hijack, they can do it. So that's why it is recommended to disable. But let's say you wanted to quickly deploy for your learning purpose, you can still enable it. Right click on the project and configure this publish, and you can make a deployment. I will still suggest don't do it. So let's keep this disabled. We will set up the CI/CD pipeline. That's very easy. Okay, so let's go to network, enable public access. Like, do you want the URL to be accessed from public? Of course, right? We have to test it from the internet. That's why it is on. Monitoring for this web API. Monitoring and secure means Azure Application Insights. Okay, so Azure Application Insights, you can actually create from here. Okay, this will get created, or you can actually create it separately also. So let's say for this video, we are not creating because we did not configure anything. Okay, let's imagine that you have an application which doesn't have the application insights. In the one of the next video, I'll show you how you can create still application insights and associate it with this application. Okay, so we say no, and then we say to the tag is basically to have a key value pair. So I added the 3 tags. It's basically, later if I wanted to do something with the tags, we can do it. So it's a key value pair. It associates with these informations to this one. So I'm going to click on the next one. See, free SKUs, Q. Free Q means it's free. Okay, so this is currently disabled. It's just giving you all of the warnings and all of this validation here. Everything looks good. I'm going to click on create. See, application deployment initiated. So the deployment is in progress and it will take a few minutes. Let's wait for that. Alright, so the deployment is now successful. We can go to the resource, and this is what our web application, like the web app that is ready. So if we go to this domain URL and click, basically what will happen is with the initial sample code, right? What Microsoft will do is Microsoft will actually deploy that sample code, and that is what you're seeing here. This nice UI from Microsoft is actually from sample code. They're saying here is the guidelines to start the quick deployment in all of those things, right? So we know as long as you see this message, like if you go to that URL, as long as you see this, you're good. Okay, now next, this is what you're going to do exactly. Go to this github.com/learn smart coding under repository, under the search. If you start with smart, if you start searching with smart, what will happen? There will be the repositories coming up, right? So what I did is, just to show you from the start so that any users who are doing this are not confused, go here and click and download. If you're downloading through the git command, make sure after you download, for example, I use this command to download. Okay, let's just give an example. So let's say I download the code here. Okay, make sure if you go to view, show hidden files, this git folder will be there. You delete this first time alone. If you're not using this, but if you're using download zip, then that downloaded content will not have git, which is good. Either way, before we do the next step, don't have the git. Now what you have to do is, if you're following this series along, go to the 6th video, the 6th episode. Basically we have an episode called Git and Azure DevOps for Absolute Beginner. Basically what I would have shown in this video is, if you have such video, if you have such code, how to push this code to this repository in the Azure DevOps, dev.azure.com. in the Azure DevOps, how to create a new repository and push the code. That is what this video is talking about. So I will give you this exact video link, but it is always there in the playlist. So let's assume you have already followed that and you have the code here. If you already know how to do it, great. So let's start with here. So you have the code here. So I have the code under this repository. Okay, now next idea for us is to create CI CD. CI stands for continuous integration, CD stands for continuous deployment. So let's go to this left side and click on pipelines. Okay, right now there is 0 pipelines because I really wanted to show everything fresh. Okay, that's why there is nothing here. We will create the first pipeline, and the first thing that it is asking you is, where is your code? The code can be in GitHub, the code can be in some other source control, but in our case the code is Azure repository. I select this, it is finding out, okay, here I can see only this repository. Do you have more repository, or do you have some other projects? Choose it. Choose whatever you like, you push the code, and then here what we do, configure your pipeline. Okay, so here it is already showing us ASP.NET, build and test ASP.NET project. This is ASP.NET core. So we will choose this, and what it actually did is, it read that it was able to read the project, and it determined that this is actually a .NET core project, and it just built YAML file for us. Long back this was not the case. They have improved a lot, like they've offloaded all of our work. Okay, let's understand this. Trigger is master, but I wanted to trigger the code from main branch. There was a branch name called main. That's why I'm changing the trigger to main branch. Next is it is just going to use the Windows latest image. That from this is all happening on the DevOps server side. We will not know what is happening, but I will explain you what this will do. Okay, so basically this has the image pool, and these are all like configured by default. We don't need to touch any of these things. So far good. Okay, so far whatever is here is all for the building the project, but building the project alone is not sufficient. After the content is built, basically we need to zip the file. So that is what this extra step I added. So I'm saying publish the build artifact. Okay, and I'm saying the artifact name is drop. You can give a different name. You can say smart certify API. That is also fine, but this is what the default is, and it is located in the container itself. Okay, that's it. I didn't do any magic. I'm going to click on save and run. But before I do so, basically it is asking a commit message, and it's asking, can I commit in that repository itself? Yes, commit directly in the master branch. Okay, wait, let's close this. Okay, it is saying that this file is going to get committed in the master branch, right? But if you remember, the code is taken from the main branch. So just for now, okay, let me put it back to the master branch itself. Okay, then we can always put this file into the main branch as well. Okay, nothing else. I didn't do anything. I have two branch, master and main, because it is giving an option directly to commit to the master branch. I just wanted to put it there itself. Save and run. What this is doing behind the scene is, imagine this. If you download this code in your local machine and wanted to build, what and all you want to install the .NET framework, like .NET Core SDK, right? And then you will use Visual Studio. Or even if you don't use Visual Studio, as long as you install the .NET Core SDK, you can use the command to build the project, right? That is what it is doing. So it will take the code from here. It will take the code from here and it will go and put it into one of the VM which Microsoft is managing. It's called build server. And then it knows that it already has, the build server already has the .NET Core SDKs. So it will build the project, all of the content that we build, right? It will come. It will zip it and it will put it into the one folder. So that is what the steps are doing. See, first it is checking out the project. It's installing all the NuGet packages, like when you do a build, say NuGet command, it's giving you logs. Then after it installs everything or whatever is required for the VM to have this build ready, it will do everything. And then it goes to build, and then it will do a test, like then it will finally publish the artifacts. Okay, so everything is done and you can see it is also published. Okay, so the build is ready. So if you go to the pipelines, there's a build which is ready. Okay, so what we will do, our build pipeline is ready. Let's go to this release pipeline. So under pipeline, under release, there is no release pipeline. This is called continuous deployment. So we wanted to now deploy these changes to this place, like wherever we deploy, right? Wherever this is located. So how do we do that? First is click on new pipeline. It is going to ask you certain things. So I'm going to choose Azure App Service deployment. Apply. It is going to be called as, let's call it as dev environment. Okay, this is for development environment. This is the stage owner, and I can click on this. This is added here. Now the first thing is artifacts. Artifact means in order for anyone to deploy, they want to know what to deploy. Deploy means what? Copy pasting the build content, right? So I'm going to click on add. So it is asking me where is the build content. So it is our project, and if I choose this, see, there is only one build pipeline, right? That's why it is showing up. So that's why before you create the release pipeline, first is build pipeline. I'm adding it so it knows where is the code. Now if you see this the thunder symbol, if you click on it, you will ask you, can I do this deployment every time there is a new build is available? Yes, then this will be saved. I don't want this to, like in companies, right? For every PR means pull request. For that also this build will happen. That's why they put this, but we don't want this. That's why I'm not selecting this, but this is what we want after a build is ready, a new build, which you're gonna see now. I'm gonna close it and click on this task. Okay, that takes you to this task, and click on this run on agent, and if you see this, everything looks okay. And if you come under this, let's see, everything is selected properly. See this, under this drop only our content is here, so we are choosing this content. Okay, and if you look at this carefully, this is what the total zip file. Okay, here is what our content is present. Now this is fine. Click on this deploy Azure App Service, and you see this first one is the name, that's for understanding, and the second one is Azure Resource Manager, which is selected. Okay, so here the third one is, it doesn't have anything, so the setting is required. So basically you need to click on this manage. It will take you to the same project setting under service connection. So in case if you want to go manually, click on the project setting and then go to the service connection. There is no service connection. This is what called service connection, is nothing but the service principal that we are going to create. So service principal I've already explained in one of the videos, service principal versus managed identity, but just for this video, service principal is something that used for automation or CI/CD pipelines, right? There is one entity, okay, which is created by us. We are giving permission what it has permission to do, so that is what we're going to do. So click on service connection, click on Azure Resource Manager, next, and then it will ask you the subscription. See, loading subscription is going to trigger a window now to re-authenticate myself. Okay, so what this will do is it will ask me to re-log in, to grant access, and as I speak it just showed. So I'm saying from this DevOps I'm giving access to this portal account. Okay, it's better to have the same account. It's going to send me notification. So once I authenticate myself, now it started showing me all of the available subscription. Okay, so basically the subscription ID is what is showing in the bracket, but we are dealing with this subscription, right? See, you have to choose it correctly. Under this subscription only we created the web app, right? Or if I have created a web app from here, I need to choose this. So I'm going to choose this, and I'm going to choose under which resource group it has. It is under this resource group, service connection name. So I'm saying, just for understanding, right, smart certify. So I'm saying it is for smart certify app deployments. Okay, this is reference, is all for understanding purpose. I can say, I have to say grant access permission to all pipelines, so that any pipeline that uses this service connection can be used for the deployment of the web app. Okay, I'll repeat one more time. This is Azure service principal. We are creating a service connection. We authenticated ourselves to the subscription. We chose that. We choose to under which resource group we have access. Like this, whoever is using the service principal have access to the resources only under this resource group. If I have something under this, it won't have access. Okay, so I'm going to choose this, and you'll see that shortly. If I save, click on save, the service connection is getting set up. So basically Azure is granting a credential-less access to this service connection from CI/CD pipeline. From this Azure DevOps, it has access to deploy to this location, to this one. That is what it is going to do. And see, service connection is set up. Let's go back here, and probably we need to come here, refresh this. Okay, so sometimes it doesn't refresh here. The only way we can get out of this is to recreate this one more time. So I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back to the release. I'm sorry for that. So this way we know what mistakes we are doing. So basically it has a refresh button, it has gone away. I don't know why. So I'm gonna just leave this, and I'm gonna click on new pipeline again. Same thing, Azure App Service, let it be as a refreshment. Okay, so I created this, and I'm going to choose the deployment as development. Artifacts, and quickly choose whatever artifacts we selected, add it here. We did this again for the continuous deployment, and then we came here. That's where we stuck, right? So now this is fine. Azure subscription, we are going to choose this one. Everything looks okay. It's asking us to authenticate again, authorize, and we are going to choose this, right? See, the moment we choose the subscription and we say what is the type, right? We choose Windows as the type, right, for the creating web app. That's why now it will show us what is available. So the only thing that is available is this one. Okay, I choose this and I go to this one, and here the Azure Resource Manager is selected, subscription is selected. So because we created this, Azure subscription got selected by itself, and it is app service, the Windows, and this is our name, and everything is okay. And this also seems to be fine. So let's go here and click on this. It'll ask you to choose where it is, the drop, and just choose until the zip. Okay, that is what the content is. So everything looks okay. So let's one more time. Deployment is the staging name, the subscription we authenticated, we authorized, app name, the service type name, the app name, and then let's go here. Everything is fine. Here everything got selected, subscription type. Here we choose till the zip location, and then we can actually give a name. So I'm going to give a name like this, and then click on save. It is asking where to save. I wanted to save under this folder, so I'll choose this folder, say OK, and then it got saved. Very first time, right, you can click on create release and the release will get triggered. So let's do this. Okay, so let's create release and choose the environment, staging, development, and then created it. So it goes here, and then very first time alone you need to manually deploy this. Okay, let me show you how automatic things will happen. So it's under progress. We can click on this, it will show you the progress here. Okay, after a few minutes the deployment was successful and this is showing as successful. So how do we make sure it's successful? Go to this location and hit on the URL, and then see it loaded. Great, right? It may not work, which is absolutely fine because we are still missing something. Let me show you one more thing. So now let's say I go to the code and the current thing, right, which is in master pipeline. Okay, if something happens here, the build is going to get triggered. So let's do that. So I'm going to go to this, just going to mimic that as if that something got changed. Okay, so I'm going to go here and edit this. You don't need to do this. This is only for demo purpose. Okay, so I'm in edit mode. All I'm saying is I'm not doing anything. Just something happened which I didn't do anything, right? You saw I'm committing it. But from the dev perspective, something triggered in the master branch. So if I go to pipelines, if I go inside the pipeline, see, automatically it is triggered. It's in the queued state. So now what will happen? It is going to build, and if we keep it in release, only because of the option that we selected here, continuous deployment trigger is there, you will see release 2 automatically happening as soon as the build is finished. So while the build is happening, what we will do, we will go take a look at this web app. So this is the place where the web application is deployed. Okay, now for everyone who's on my channel or viewers, this is something that a lot of people misses. See, when we run the application, if you go to this app settings, the launch settings, the ASP.NET environment is development, which means it will come here, take this and take this, it will club these two, and things which are here, right, it will take it from here. Here we have a connection string. Okay, so it is taking from here. Now if you go to production, like whatever we just deployed in the Azure web app is the production. Here I have something, I do not have a connection string. Now there are two things that you can do. If you have the SQL connection string here, place it here directly and deploy it just only for initial testing that everything is working fine. But generally speaking, what we have to do is we need to take the the connection string like this, copy it, okay, and then I'll show you where to put it in the web app. So under the web app, under the settings, you have something called environment variable and configuration. So let's go to environment variable. You have app settings where nothing is here, and there's something called connection string, also nothing is here. Now let's go back to our code, and you see this under connection string. Under connection string, what do we have? DB context. So I'm going to come here and again web app settings, environment variable, connection string, add. I'm going to give exactly the same name, DB context. I'm going to give you value here. It's SQL Server, and then I say apply. Click on apply. It's asking to confirm. Saved. So now what will happen? Same logic. When application is running from the production, it knows that it is production. It will take this. It will take this. It will take the connection string from here because it is empty. Not just because of empty, right? I'll tell you the truth. Why you have configured a DB string here? Only because of that, this takes precedence. Even if you have something on the configuration file, it will ignore it. It will take from here only. That is what the logic is. Okay, so it will take it from here, and then whenever the application is starting, it will take the connection string and does everything. So let's go here. Let's restart this one more time. Okay, and while this is happening, let's go back to where we left. We were in the pipeline, and you see this already. The second deployment has started by itself. I didn't do anything. It started only because in the pipeline, if you see, there will be 2 deployments. See the third one, right? Only because of that, it automatically triggered the second one. Okay, so now what we can do, we can edit the pipeline, and you can actually do one more thing. Okay, let's say you don't want it to have this deployment done automatically. Come to this pipeline, come to this post deployment, and there is something called pre-deployment. So before deployment, I want approval. I want it to approve, only then it has to be deployed. So I'm saying this person can approve, and so and so. In companies, all this, architects or higher position lead or somebody will have approval thing. So I've added this approval, close this, which means now this is under approval. So the reason why I'm showing this, if I click on save, okay, this is saved, right? Let's say I go to pipeline. I go here, I run the pipeline manually. Okay, imagine this. I'm triggering just a build. The build will soon happen, but it won't deploy automatically. Okay, so let's go back to release. It's done. When the pipeline that we just triggered is finished, let's see what happened to the release pipeline. Okay, all right, so we're jumping in and around to save some time, but I think you're following along with me. So let's wait for this to finish. All right, so the build is getting finished. Let's go to release. Okay, so here is the build pipeline. The new build is available. Let's go to release. See, the release is in approval pending state. It didn't deploy the way it was doing. Why? Because in the pipeline, we had set up the approval. We don't want the code which just deployed every time it is getting built, right? Unless you wanted to do so. So generally speaking, this is what will happen in a real company. If you want it for development environment, it will be deployed. For QA environment, which is the extra stage, okay, so they won't allow us to do it. So for example, if I do an approval, okay, it gets deployed. Now this is approved, it will get deployed. But let me quickly show you one more thing. If you again go to this stage, and you can add more stage. More stage means you can actually do the same thing one more time. So basically you can add here again. See, look at this. So basically we will say this as QA, this one as development 2. Okay, so let's say we have 2 development environment and QA, and from QA, if QA passes, then this will become stage. Okay, stage or UAT, basically user acceptance test. And then Generally speaking, finally it will be protection. Okay, so let's close this and you can understand how things are working. So we are dealing only with one, but generally speaking, after this, if everything verification is done good, it will come and sit in approval stage. So here what generally they will do is they won't have any approval. It will auto deploy to both the environment, but here they will have approval. No one deploys to QA environment, without the approval. So here I am eligible to approve my name, but for staging from here to here, only the dev leads or architects or whoever is responsible, they will do. Here, even dev leads, architects will not have access for production. There will be a separate DevOps team, separate production deployment team, or anyone who has access. Only they will have permission to deploy from here to here. That is how in general it works. But if you come to the channel and if you just go to this channel videos and if you search for DevOps, if you search for CI/CD, you will see there is a video which talks about how to deploy this into 4 environment at the same pipeline. If you watch this video, basically you'll understand what I'm referring to. So this video, right? This video will clearly tell you how these 4 environments are getting deployed. See, there's different environments. So in this video, I would have already showed how this is getting deployed to all the 4 environments. Okay, so if you want to know more, please feel free to visit the channel and search for your required videos, or let me know in the comment section. I will definitely tell you the exact link. And don't forget to also chat with me live in Telegram group. If you wanted to have a different one, let me know in the comment section, like WhatsApp or anything else that where we can communicate with each other. All right, so let's get back to our deployment process. So this is deployed, right? And I'm going to open this. Okay, if you remember, we do not have any logging, or we do not have any logging or application insights setting. So let's say I try to get to this course. Okay, I'm going to try this. Connection string is already in place, but if I try this, I'm getting value, right? Why? Because I have done some setup. Only because of that this is getting a value, but you may not get the value, and I'll show you what you have to do. Okay, so what if it doesn't work for you even after giving the database connection? So basically, if you go to this Azure web app, right? So this is what is trying to talk to the database, right? So under the overview, if you come below under network, okay, network is also under the settings. So if we go to networks, it will show you the outbound traffic details. You see these IPs. So any of these IPs is what is going to talk to the Azure SQL server. Okay, so what you have to do is you copy this IPs and go to your SQL servers, wherever that server is configured. So let's say I will just give you one simple example. So you go to the server and under security, under network, whatever IPs that you copied, come and add it here in the firewall rule. Okay, so if you do that and save it, basically what it means is your web app here, your web app can now talk to the database. That's it. That is what you need to do. So in the next video, I will show you how we can trigger such issues, or if you have any issues, how to resolve it using the logging mechanism using Azure App Insights. So stay tuned. If you like this video, if you've enjoyed this, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. Share this with your friends in your circle. If you have any questions or suggestions, let me know in the comment section. Join the Telegram group for more info, and also if you have any questions, you can directly ask me. So stay tuned, guys. This video series was going to be an excellent one, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more tech tutorials. And don't forget to hit the bell icon to get notified when we post new videos. If you have any questions or suggestions, leave them in the comments below. Happy coding!